Hey and welcome back to Kallerhult Creations and my second installment of my study vlogs. This time we are diving down the rabbit hole of character design and I'm so excited because, as I mentioned a bunch of times before, this is something I really want to learn more about and improve on. So the main purpose of this vlog is to document how I tackle some of the portfolio assignments we've been given in the university course I'm currently taking, illustrating picture books, held by Mid-Sweden University. I'll pop in a card and a link in the description to the first vlog in this series in case you miss it. I've dabbled a little bit with character design before, both my impromptu character Mons, who came to life as I was doodling in my sketchbook while waiting at an airport. We have Finn, the boy from the forest, who appeared in my sketchbook one day, and also the collab with Steph over at The Average Artist, where we designed each other's Hogwarts personas. I knew I wanted my character to be a human, and I have been drawing a bunch of different people in different styles in my sketchbook, so I sat down and flipped through my old sketchbooks to see in which style I wanted my character to be. For this exercise we didn't have a text to interpret into illustrations, so I felt that I needed a bit more resources on the practical execution of character development, how to think when creating a character, both when it comes to consistency and showing the character's personality, but also the practical execution. Basically, tips and tricks on how to draw characters. I had a read in the given course literature, and I'm gonna get back to that later in the video, and also some of the art books I own, particularly Creating Characters by Jazza, and as I was about to record some footage for this vlog, he actually just released a new class on Skillshare called Character Design from First Idea to Final Illustration.
G'day, welcome to my Skillshare class. I'm Jazza. I'm a YouTuber, but I'm also an animator and an illustrator, an entertainer, and a character designer. Fun things where you can explore your own style or develop and discover other people's styles and design based on that. If you're creating a character design in a world of someone else's design, that is a...
I'm going to loosely follow the 4 Ds mentioned in Draw with Jazza's book about creating characters and his Skillshare class. Number 1, discover, exploration of ideas, themes and style. 2, design, play with brainstorm sketches. 3, develop, a stage of refinement, narrowing down and hone in on what the finished character should look like. 4, deliver, creation of finished art, character turnarounds, expression sheets, environment and movement. In this video, I won't go the full length and have refined images in the end. I wanted to release another study vlog, and it will be focused on the study part leading up to the grand finale, but as I said, I won't be having like, look here, this is the character turnaround, expression sheet, environment and movement. So yeah. For the discovery part, I knew that the end result was supposed to be illustrations for children's picture books. I was debating with myself on what medium I wanted to use, but I ended up going with paper, fine liners and markers. Perhaps I'll add some colored pencils as well, but the bases are fine liners and markers. So since I already had a vague idea of how I wanted to draw my characters, the first practical work was to sit down and have a brainstorming session about who my character is, and I actually decided that I would develop one of my previous characters, namely Finn, the boy from the forest. I think I might continue to develop the universe around Finn down the line. I've kind of become quite invested in him now after all this time. He is about 10 years old, adventurous and curious. He has dark blonde hair with some sections in dreads and blue-green eyes. His everyday clothes are green cargo shorts and a loose-fitting white A-shirt or tank top, white socks and tan or brown hiking boots. He usually has a plaster on his right knee. He loves animals and he has a squirrel friend, which he rescued and nursed back to health. I drew him over and over again, making small notes to annotate what I liked and disliked. I used other artists' illustrations as inspiration for poses and expressions, and from these initial sketches I distilled what I wanted my character to look like. Here's a little flip of most of the sketches I had done of Finn at this point. In some he was too old, and in some he looked too young. Some are crossed out because they are definitely not taking me in the direction I wanted to go. I dabble a bit with how to draw his jawline, chin and nose. I find the side view is the hardest one to nail down, but I'm getting there. Another thing is going to get the proportion of its body in full body illustrations correct. How big should the head be in comparison to the body, etc. I will probably redraw a bunch of these sketches later on because they have some elements I like, such as the pose, but other stuff I need to improve on, such as proportions. I also ended up drawing a spread of hiking boots because I realized I've basically never drawn shoes and I need to get a grip on how to illustrate them and how shoes looks from different angles. As I mentioned earlier, I wanted to use fine liners and markers to make the final illustrations of Finn, and to not be sat here until the sun swallows the earth, I decided to make somewhat of a turnaround, or at least his face from 3 different angles. This is not really what I visualize his final look to be, but I'm getting there, so yeah. Especially his profile needs more work, and some of the other sketches I made of him is more in line of how I want his anatomy to look and in the style I want to draw him. In this footage I'm lining up the headshots so the facial features is in about the same place regardless of the angle. This is important to think about and take into consideration so you get a cohesive look of your character. Some people even do 3D models of their characters to be certain that their illustrations show consistency in the portrayal of their character. After I had drawn Finn, I outlined the illustrations, scanned the page in my sketchbook and brought the image into Photoshop, where I duplicated it several times on a sheet. I then printed said sheet and boom bada bing, I had a swatch sheet for trying out different color combinations. This step is absolutely not necessary for the assignment given in my course, but since I really feel like I wanted to do something with this character moving forward, I wanted to develop Finn further, including narrowing down a color scheme. As I'm making my little colors tests, I'm watching Steph, the average artist, Twitch stream. I really enjoy watching streams while I work on art myself. I would like to try streaming, but I get a bit overwhelmed by the thought of actually doing art at the same time I'm trying to talk in a language that isn't my first language. I think I'll stick to all of the babbling I do in my studio vlogs for a while longer. I had pretty much decided on giving him blonde or like dirty blonde hair and fair skin, but I still tried some other color combos, because who knows, maybe I would fall in love with something completely different when I saw it on the page instead of with my mind's eye. Besides Jazza's course on Skillshare, I also watched 2 others, which I will link in the description. How to Illustrate a Children's Picture Book Part 1, Character Design by Claire Lordan, and Designing Characters from a Storytelling Approach by Leo M. Both classes talk about how to use silhouettes and clear outlines, how to use shape language to set the tone for a character's personality, how to use strong poses and exaggeration to push the expressions to the next level. I'm not sponsored by Skillshare, but I think there are a lot of great classes on there in regards to character design and storytelling, and if you want to try it out, I have a link in the description which will give you a free trial for 2 weeks. I'm gonna summarize some of the text in our course literature, mainly Bilderbokens pusselbitar by Nikolaj Eve, that talks about portrayal of people in picture books. One single picture can deliver so much information about a character, and if the character was to be built up using only text, it would take many words to describe what we can depict in an illustration. When people are described in a novel, it is usually in different layers or categories of descriptions. We have the physical appearance, what they look like, what they are wearing, how they move, etc., which is fairly easy to show in an illustration. Then comes the aspect of the character, the personality, which can be harder to show in a single image and best portrayed in some kind of action, how they respond to a situation. If they find a wallet with money on the side of the street, would they pocket the money or turn it into the police? If they accidentally smashed a window, would they own up to it or run away and pretend nothing had happened? In a written character portrayal, this could be described as honest or dishonest, but how would you show this particular characteristic in a single image? The dialogue is also a dimension into getting to know our character, both the external dialogue held with other humans or creatures, but also the inner dialogues or thought processes. It is quite common for the internal monologue or memories to be illustrated in a different style than the main body of work. Perhaps it is in black and white, or perhaps the illustrator is using a different technique, such as drawing with a crayon in comparison to the rest of the story, which might be painted using watercolors. Or perhaps they are completely abstract or distorted. Some things are definitely easier to convey with words than with images, and vice versa. As a creator of picture books with written text, there is also the aspect of choosing how to illustrate a given piece of text. Should it be a straight translation of the text showing nothing less and nothing more of what the text says? Should it be contradicting the text, implying that the text might be wishful thinking and the images are the truth, or the other way around? There are so many ways to get text and images to interact with each other, and I think that is the thing I found most interesting with this course and eye-opening. I simply just hadn't thought about those aspects of picture books before, and now that I'm reading bedtime stories to my daughter, that and other aspects of the theory that we learned is pretty much all that goes through my head. In the book Illustrating Children's Books, Martin Selsberg says, "Successful character development requires a combination of two things. First, a keen and slightly voyeuristic interest in the vagaries and eccentricities of human nature, and second, the ability to represent these eccentricities through a drawn line. The first may be inherent, the second can be learned." So that is about it with this episode of my study vlogs. I hope you have enjoyed seeing and listening to the progress of how I developed Finn. If you want to see more of him, leave a comment down below. I have some more school assignments where I'm going to incorporate Finn, and I will probably film and post as study vlogs, but I think most of my work with him moving forward is going to be independent illustrations. I don't know if I'll eventually create a proper story around him so I can make an illustrated picture book or something, but I want to go all in and complete expression sheets, turnaround, etc., so I can use that as a portfolio piece. Building my portfolio is going to be one of the topics in my studio vlogs moving forward, so if you want to see more of Finn, make sure to watch them as well in the future. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and it would be awesome if you could give it a thumbs up and perhaps leave a comment if you want to. Have a lovely day. Hej då!